Mongolia, the 18th largest country in the world, isn't only rich in history and cultural heritage, but is also home to peculiar creatures that will leave you mind-blown. If you think you've seen it all and nothing can really surprise you anymore, wait till you hear about the spirits of the Gobi Desert. Mongolia is 99.7% completely empty now, thanks to strange sightings that defy all logic. So take a deep breath and let's dive straight into the dark things found in Mongolia. Number 1. The spirit of the Gobi Desert. From ghouls and goblins to evil spirits and demons, the Gobi Desert is home to every strange creature you can possibly think of. The desert is so big that weird things are sighted there all the time. But if there's one story that never gets old, it's of the infamous spirit of the Gobi Desert. Legend says that a nomadic Mongolian traveler died of thirst and hunger in the desert, and his spirit now roams the vast land. People who travel in the region can hear his loud wailing, and many have reported to lose their senses because of it. But that's not all. It only gets better. There have also been many sightings of lifelike creatures in traditional clothes that often try to prevent tourists from invading their land. Stories of travelers getting lost in the Gobi Desert and never coming back never get old. It's almost as if there's a secret to it, much similar to that of the Bermuda Triangle. Well, if you ever feel adventurous and decide to visit the Great Desert, make sure you take a friend along with you, because ghosts aren't the only creatures you'll encounter. Number 2. The Mongolian death worm. Worms are terrifying on their own, but if they don't scare you, an electrocuting worm will sure as hell give you the creeps. The Mongolian death worm is said to exist in the Gobi Desert, and it's one you'd want to avoid at all costs. The Olgoi Korkoi, or Mongolian death worm, is said to have the ability to spew acid and generate electric shocks. According to the people who saw it, the death worm is red in color, shaped like a sausage, and 2 to 3 feet in length. Oh, and it has no head or tail, just a pair of the most terrifying teeth you can imagine. But that's not even the scariest part. The worm is said to be so poisonous that even a simple touch can result in instant death. And when the poison isn't enough, this worm can electrocute you from a distance as well. Yeah, no thank you. I think I'll pass on this one. If you think this was the end of it, you're greatly mistaken, because the creatures only get bigger and scarier than this. Well, did someone say dinosaurs? Number 3. The dinosaur footprints. Yes, you heard that right. Mongolia isn't only the place that harbors spirits and deadly worms, but it was also once home to the biggest dinosaurs in history. One of the biggest dinosaur footprints ever recorded was unearthed in the Gobi Desert. A Japanese Mongolian expedition found the giant print, which measured 105 centimeters long and 77 centimeters wide. It is believed to have belonged to a titan saw. Researchers said the huge fossil was in a geologic layer formed between 70 million and 90 million years ago. Of course, Mongolia had the biggest dinosaurs in the world. Rumor has it, their spirits still wander the Great Desert. There's a big reason why Mongolia's population went into decline. Despite being the 18th largest country in the world, it is 99.7% empty, with no signs of modern civilization in most parts. Come on, the dinosaurs need space to live. And of course, the aliens. Sit down, because this next one is going to make you take a pause and say, really? Number 4. The UFOs of Mongolia. I said Mongolia's low on the human population, but I never said there weren't any aliens living there. For decades, Mongolia has had many UFO sightings, and they're only increasing over time. In July 2010, an airport was shut down for more than an hour because the locals saw what they believed to be a UFO buzzing through the airport. It was the 8th time a UFO was sighted in the country that month. Now, authorities are always very discreet about letting too much information out, but the pictures and videos are all the proof we need to believe the aliens paid a visit to our good old planet. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were planning world domination in Mongolia right now. It's an excellent place to hide, right? It's full of secrets, for sure. Number 5. Tsetsegi rock paintings. While we're on the topic of aliens, let me tell you, these creatures are deep-rooted in Mongolia's history. The Tsetsegi rock paintings are located in the Gobi Desert region of Mongolia, of course. These paintings date back to the Bronze Age, around 4,000 to 5,000 years ago, so their depiction of celestial creatures came as a shock to many. Many archaeologists have proposed that certain symbols or figures in the rock paintings can be interpreted as aliens and UFOs. Drawing aliens back in the Bronze Age can only mean one thing: they knew something we don't. Well, if you still don't believe in aliens, one trip to Mongolia will change that for you. Number 6. Khovsgol Lake sea monster. Someone called Poseidon because we've got our very own sea monster here. The legend of the Khovsgol Lake sea monster is part of Mongolian folklore, but sightings of the mystery creature make it as real as it can be. According to the locals, the Blue Pearl of Mongolia is home to a large, serpent-like creature that occasionally surfaces. Now, this isn't your normal serpent. This monster's huge. Many locals and tourists have been lucky enough to witness it, while many have also managed to capture it on their phones. Good thing that it only adds to the attraction of Khovsgol Lake, because tourists love some adventure. As for the locals, they try to stay as far away as possible. Number 7. The mysterious Yeti. If ghosts, aliens, dinosaurs, and sea creatures aren't your cup of tea and you want something straight out of a storybook, I got you covered. Did you know Mongolia has its very own Yeti too? When this creature was caught on camera, no one believed it. As it turns out, Russia and Mongolia have their very own Bigfoot called the Almas. This cryptid creature is said to inhabit the Altai Mountains of western Mongolia. It's also known as the Wild Man or the Snowman in Mongolian mythology. So in case you're ever hiking in the Altai Mountains and you see a polar bear, there's a big chance it's not a bear. Number 8. Flaming cliffs. The flaming cliffs might look like any other cliff to you, but you won't believe what people spotted there. The bright red-orange cliffs of Bayanzag are famous for dinosaur fossils, but that's not all. Locals and tourists have sighted mysterious flickering lights that often make it look like the cliff is actually on fire. According to Mongolian folklore, the cliffs are inhabited by the spirits of ancient creatures and ancestors. It is said that by making the cliff appear on fire, the spirits protect the area so that the remains of the ancient creatures are preserved and respected. Sounds a little eerie, doesn't it? It's no surprise that Mongolia is haunted to the core. I mean, if humans aren't going to make use of the vast lands in the country, other creatures sure will. Number 9. Frozen mammoths. What if I tell you it's possible to resurrect animals that went extinct thousands and thousands of years ago? Well, Mongolia is full of surprises for sure. Scientists couldn't believe it when they found perfectly preserved mammoths in the country of the blue sky. The woolly mammoth is a species that went extinct 4,000 years ago, but thanks to the discoveries made in Mongolia, scientists believe that it can roam the earth again. But that's not the crazy part. Many locals believe that the woolly mammoth never truly went extinct, and scientists have got it all wrong. This came after the extinct species was spotted walking the earth, and some lucky guy even caught it on camera. Good thing he got it in 4K, because no one would have believed him otherwise. Number 10. Black Sand Desert. The miracles of the Gobi Desert never end, and another thing that took the tourists by surprise was the black sand deposits. Such deposits can be found near volcanoes and mineral deposits, but lucky tourists who dare to explore the vast desert of Gobi can even find such black sand away from any volcanoes at all. Now, of course, the black sand has a legend to it as well, because the locals have their reasons for everything. According to Mongolian folklore, the black sand is a remnant of ancient dragon battles. It suggests that the black sand was created by the fiery breath of dragons, while many also believe that the sand is cursed by an ancient shaman or spirit. I don't know about you, but with all the other strange sightings in the country, I'm ready to believe both the legends. I mean, they've got ghosts, dinosaurs, extinct mammoths, and deadly worms, so how far off can be dragons? Number 11. The shaman's curse. Shamanism has been a significant part of the Mongolian culture for centuries. It's a spiritual practice that involves connecting with spirits and ancestors through rituals and sacrifices. In the modern day, we call it summoning a ghost. Well, that explains all the paranormal sightings in the country, because let me tell you, there are a lot. Shamans and other individuals with supernatural abilities put curses to bring misfortune and illnesses to their enemies. The power of shamans doesn't only exist in myths and legends, but it's a reality many Mongolians face every day. They worship the devil and pressure others to leave their religions and come back to shamanism, but using threats like, someone in your family will die if you don't join us. And if you dare say no to them, They're going to send ghosts and spirits to haunt you. Now, I know the existence of ghosts might be a concept you don't believe in. There are hundreds of videos of ghost sightings in Mongolia. Come on, you can't deny what you see from your own eyes, can you? The Black Shaman of the Steppe is a shaman who roams the steppes at night. According to legend, encountering this spirit can bring misfortune or even death. Number 12. The Lost City of Burkhan Khaldun. Spirits guarding mountains is interesting, but you know what's better? The spirit of none other than Genghis Khan guarding the lost city of Burkhan Khaldun. Yep, you heard that right. If I were to encounter a ghost, Genghis Khan definitely wouldn't be one I'd want to meet. The man was scary enough as a human, but him as a spirit? Talk about the creeps. The Great Burkhan Khaldun Mountain is located in northeast Mongolia, and it isn't just the burial place of Genghis Khan, but it's also home to the lost city, his spirit guards. The lost city is of significant value to the Mongolians, who often make pilgrimages to the mountain to pay homage to Genghis Khan, and that is usually when they encounter the supernatural. It can't be a trip to a mountain in Mongolia without at least one spirit encounter. Explorers have reported strange phenomena in the area such as disembodied voices, ghostly spirits, and sudden temperature drops. Other than Genghis Khan, it is said that the lost city is guarded by powerful spirits or supernatural beings who protect its secrets from intruders. And if you still somehow manage to enter the cursed ruins of the city, brings misfortune and tragic fate to those who roam the ruins. The smart thing to do here would be to stay at home and enjoy the lost city of Burkhan Khaldun through the comfort of a screen. No ghosts, no curses. Number 13. Alien mummy. Call it a full circle moment because we're back to the aliens. If you thought UFO sightings and ancient alien paintings were all Mongolia had, you're wrong. They've got some alien mummies too. You heard that right. Mongolia isn't a stranger to mummies, as mummifying dead bodies was a common practice. But alien mummies? That's where the supernatural kicks in. Archaeologists discovered a mummy of a tiny body with an unusually shaped head that looked less like a human and more like an alien. This raised many questions among scientists, and you know, since it was discovered in Mongolia, the alien theory isn't a stretch at all. The silk-covered mummy was discovered at Inner Mongolia Cemetery and was named M3 by scientists. The said alien mummy is tucked away at Cairo Museum and is textbook in appearance to that of what has long been claimed greys, with unusually large eye and nose cavities. But truth be told, there's no scientific evidence it's actually an alien. The pictures, however, can fool anyone into thinking it is, so take that as you will. Number 14. Ghost towns. Picture this. A perfectly built town so empty that there's nothing but animals in sight. I don't know about you, but gives me the creeps. So what's the reason behind ghost towns in Mongolia? Well, depends on what you're ready to believe. Now, you can be practical and believe that the rural-urban migration and Soviet withdrawal costs dozens of towns in Mongolia to become nothing but silent testaments. Or you can dive into the dark history of these towns and know that everything in Mongolia traces back to spirits and shamans. Tamsagbulag, a former military base, is believed to be haunted by the ghosts of the soldiers who perished there back in the day, and that too under mysterious circumstances. Locals report eerie marching sounds and seeing spectral figures in military uniforms. And this is just one of the many ghost towns in Mongolia. It is said that the spirits in these towns drive people away, and it's one big reason why Mongolia is mostly empty now. While we're on the topic of ghosts, Mongolia has its fair share of Mongol spirits too. Number 15. Ghostly warriors of the battlefield. Mongolia's history is filled with epic battles, and many ancient battlefields are said to be haunted by the spirits of fallen warriors. Come on, somebody's got to protect Mongolia, and looks like these Mongol spirits are keeping everything in check. Local folklore suggests that the spirits of fallen warriors continue to haunt these ancient battlefields. Witnesses have reported seeing figures in traditional Mongol armor riding ghostly horses or marching silently across the vast lands of Mongolia. You can also hear the faint sounds of battle, such as clashing swords and distant war cries, especially on quiet nights. Karakorum, the ancient capital of the Mongol Empire, has the most stories of ghostly warriors. It is said to be haunted by those who used to defend the city back in the day, and many visitors have witnessed the ghostly figures. Now, everything about Mongolia isn't related to ghosts. Yes, most of it is, but they've got some strange sea creatures too. Number 16. Fairy shrimps. The Mongolian fairy shrimp is a rare species of shrimp. While a normal shrimp won't catch your eye, a fairy shrimp definitely turns heads, and that's why people can't help but gush about them after witnessing one. It is a fascinating creature found in the temporary water bodies of Mongolia. Now, there's not really anything about it that will give you the creeps, but this creature has got its fair share of myths, too. Believe what you will. As the name suggests, locals believe that fairy shrimps possess magical properties. The water containing fairy shrimp is used by locals for rituals and is thought to bring good luck, health, and prosperity. In shamanistic traditions, fairy shrimp are sometimes seen as spirit animals. Nothing too eerie here, just an interesting sea animal. But the nature in Mongolia never fails to surprise, especially when it can sing. Number 17. Tuvan throat, singing echoes. If you're a fan of the Mongolian culture, I'm sure you've heard of the Tuvan throat singing echoes. Throat singing is a very significant part of Mongolian culture and is said to bridge the physical and spiritual worlds. You heard that right. People of Tuvan believe that throat singing is associated with the ability to be able to communicate with spirits. And guess what happens when you try talking to the spirits? Well, they talk back. In many remote areas of Mongolia, unexplained echoes are heard, and the locals believe it's the spirits talking back. Some believe that it's nature singing. With that said, if you ever plan on visiting Mongolia, I don't recommend throat singing unless you're looking for some ghost friends to haunt you. While nature might not be responsible for throat singing, it sure is for some other phenomena in the country. Number 18. Mongolia's sundog. On February 14, 2020, a sundog, also known as a mock sun, phenomenon appeared in North China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. Its official name is the Pathelia. Locals who caught it on camera couldn't believe their eyes, and it wasn't long before videos of the incident were making rounds on the internet. Now you may ask, what even is a sundog? Well, it is an optical phenomenon in the atmosphere where a large amount of hexagonal ice crystals float in the sky, refracting the rays and creating a virtual image on either side of the sun. The phenomenon was eye-catching as it was, but the myth behind it makes it even more interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're back to the good old Mongolian shamanism. Everything seems to trace back to the shamans. In traditional Mongolian shamanism, the sun holds immense significance as a symbol of power, vitality, and cosmic balance. A day with a sundog equals a perfect day for rituals for shamans. So as much as you'd like to witness the wonder of nature, it's better to stay at home unless you want to get cursed by a shaman or two. Number 19. The mysterious deer stones of Mongolia. The mysterious deer stones of Mongolia are ancient megaliths scattered across the Mongolian steppes and surrounding regions. Nearly 1,000 ornamented steles dot the Mongolian steppes. These deer stones were erected between 1200 and 800 BC and are part of large funerary complexes built by nomads from the Karasuk culture or deer stone civilization. So what's eerie about them, you may ask? Well, what if I told you it's got to do something with the shamans again? These stones are considered sacred, which makes them the ideal location for rituals, ceremonies, and communication with ancestors or spirits. The deer stones are also seen as a medium between our world and the spiritual world. Some interpretations suggest that the deer depicted on the stones were considered guardians or protectors of the land and its inhabitants. Not only this, but if you're ever visiting these stones and witness sacrifices happening at these sites, don't act surprised and don't say I didn't want you. Number 20. The giant eagle nests. The Altai Mountains, located at the junction of Russia, Mongolia, China, and Kazakhstan, are known for their stunning landscapes But that's certainly not all they have to offer. Enormous nests found high in the Altai Mountains are believed to belong to exceptionally large, possibly unknown species of eagles. So what's the catch here? Well, no ghosts this time, but just exceptionally large eagles that can kill you if they tried. In the cultures of the Altai region, legends and stories about giant eagles have been passed down through generations. Turns out, these eagles are not only fatal, but they also have ancestral powers. Not my words, that's what the locals are saying. These birds have adapted to the harsh terrain and environment of the Altai Mountains and are constantly evolving to fit in. I don't know about you, but I surely won't be surprised if someone tells me they're used by the shamans for rituals and sacrifices. And that's all for today. Do you find any of these things bizarre and creepy? Let me know in the comments below. See you in the next one. Goodbye.